You guys have a very good sense about your capabilities and what you need to work on and what you're really good at, okay? I feel like a lot of the later signs, okay? A lot of the later signs, like, you know, from Virgo moving forward, Virgo until like the end, which is Pisces, a lot of the later signs tend to be a little bit more introspective. Okay, so they're older signs, I would say, and as a result of being the older signs, they embody all the good and all the bad traits of all the previous signs. And because of their introspection, they're able to see. They're able to understand themselves a little bit more. They have a little bit more self-awareness. And I feel like out of all the water signs, you yourself, you're a fixed sign. So you have very strong likes and dislikes. You know exactly who you are. And even if, for example, no matter what happens around you, if you're around good people, if you're around bad people, if there's chaos around you, you are able to maintain your center of gravity. So that means you don't change with the tides, okay? You have a very clear and solid sense of who you are at all times. So hanging around with bad people doesn't turn you bad. And this is something that's very true of fixed signs. We know who we are. We know what we're capable of. We have our own sense of ethics and morality, even from a very, very young age. And so when we hang around bad people, they don't influence us to be bad. We don't really succumb to peer pressure because we know who we are. We don't need to do anything to get other people to validate us or to get other people to accept us. And I feel like this is what I mean with this spread, okay? You're aware of your capabilities, of your strengths, and of what you need to work on. And it's really could be very aggravating when other people tell you what to do, okay? With Aquarius, for example, the other fixed sign, they hate being told what to do. And there's an Aquarius presence here. So these are like the true mavericks, the, you know, screw the system, screw the rigidity. So they don't really succumb to, you know, structures, rules, and people telling them what to do. And I almost feel like you might be taking on more of that Aquarian trait, okay? You're right under the star, which is all about enlightenment and independence, okay? Being self-sufficient, okay? And it's like doing your own thing and not really caring about what other people say, how other people perceive you, and what other people expect from you. And I feel like that's what's happening here. And it's like, come what may, I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to stand in a very solid way, okay? So what you're looking at here is this giant wave that's coming towards you. It's carrying the ship towards you. And you're on a throne that is made from rock, okay? But you're not sinking. So what I feel here is you are anticipating a very, very bright future with the star card, healing, inspiration, brightness. And it's also about finding your true path, okay? This is like the destiny. So I feel like many of you have a very, very clear, solid vision of what your future is supposed to look like. And you know what you're supposed to do, you know where you're supposed to go. And then as a result of that, you only listen to your inner voice, your inner guidance. And so no matter what's happening around you, you don't really give it any mind, okay? If there are bad elements around you, Seven of Swords indicates sneaky behavior, lying, cheating, deceitful energy. If this energy is around you, it doesn't really faze you. You have really keen insights into human characters as well, human motives, as well as, you know, when someone comes to you and they have ulterior motives, you can smell it a mile away. If somebody is telling you something and their actions contradict whatever they're telling you, you can sniff it out. You catch hold of all of these inconsistencies in their stories, in the way they behave. And if someone comes at you and they pretend to be nice when they in fact want something from you, you know, you have this innate sense of deep knowing when somebody is not being 100% truthful with you. And I feel like, you know, they can carry on with the charade, But sooner or later, I just feel like you're not going to confront them. You're not going to tell them, like, oh, I'm done with you. I feel like you could just exit the picture without really giving them an explanation. A lot of the signs that have been involved with Scorpios, they do complain that you guys are secretive, and you guys go into a habit of like ghosting people, just disappearing without a trace. And I feel like what that denotes is you understand what people's intentions are. You understand what people are up to. And when they're up to no good and they're not very upfront and honest about it, you don't even need to confront them. You don't even need to like have a conversation with them about their behavior. You just automatically, cut the ties and ghost them and just disappear from their life, because to you is really not worth it. But what I'm feeling here is, despite of whatever company you keep, they might be dubious company, they don't really influence you, once again, because you have that really strong sense of self. And the reason I bring this up is I feel almost like there has been, the life of a Scorpio is very, very transformative, okay? Scorpio people have really deep karmic lessons that they have to learn. And you can be in any age bracket watching this. But what I'm feeling is you're not really aware of your true power, or one is not really aware of their true power until they have been through a lot of trials and adversity. When we're put in a very, very tight situation, that's when we have to respond from a fight or flight type of, instinct. And I feel for many of you, you have never, I want to say, coward in front of other people. When put in a situation where you have to defend others that you love, or you have to defend yourself, you don't run away from conflict, okay? You don't run away and with, your tails between your legs. You don't try to say whatever the other person wants to hear just to appease them, just to de-escalate the conflict. You stand your ground. And because of that, a lot of the times the truth sayer are the ones that are not very, very popular, right? The people that have the wisdom and the insights, and often they see the situation for what it is. A lot of the times they find themselves like burned at the stake, okay? Because the world is just not ready for the truth. And so what I'm feeling is, in the past, you might have put your neck out there, and you might have said some very, very unpopular truths that people were not ready to hear. It's almost like you were ahead of your time. You said things and did things that people were not ready for. And you found yourself in a situation where you're just like, I'm just speaking my truth, but it's not very well received. And rightfully so, because the people that you were dealing with or you had around you were not ready to face these truths, and they were not ready for the brutal honesty. And as a result of that, you might have felt, relationships and friendships and even family relationships drifting away because they couldn't really handle the truth. They couldn't really handle the strength in which you stood your ground, because they were following the herd while you were following your own intuition. And these relationships, these friendships gradually had to, fall away. And you might have found yourself in this space where you're just like, I'm doing the right thing, but why is the right thing the unpopular thing? Why am I finding myself like, not having an abundance of people and good company around me? And I feel it's almost like the life of the Scorpio has a lot to do with being able to not define your own sense of self-worth by whether or not other people around you accept you. Okay? So it's sort of like walking your own truth. Do your own thing. Be financially, emotionally independent of other people. Have your own resources. Have your own bank account. Have your own financial freedom where you can do whatever you want without needing to, bow to anybody else, needing to do anything based on anybody else's expectations. And without having to, feel guilty for spending your money however you want and not have to be financially linked up with another person. So it's a lot more about being, very, very independent, okay? And you started to realize that you were placing the wrong emphasis on your emphasis was placed on the wrong things, okay? And so you have spent the past 3 years, I feel, building up your self-esteem. This is I don't feel like it's financial resources. It's mainly building up your self-esteem. There was that rock bottom, and now we're climbing up, okay, climbing back on top. And from this Five of Pentacles, this is like feeling cast out, feeling like burned at the stake, feeling like you put yourself out there. And there was this moment where you felt very, very dejected, like people didn't appreciate you, or you were not appreciated, and you were not, people did not appreciate you and see your true worth and your true potential. And so you bury yourself in work. And, there is a lot of, I feel like, resentment. You could have retaliated, okay? You could have retaliated. You could have slandered the other person. You could have, I feel almost like this sense of retaliation that you might have done in the past, you turn your back on it. And you're just like, they're going to get what's due to them. They're going to get their justice one way or another. I'm not going to get my hands dirty. And especially, I'm not going to stoop to this level, because I feel like you're turning your back on a lot of things and a lot of people that no longer matter to you. And you're focusing on yourself and building up your self-esteem, building up your financial resources, and especially learning to be more independent, okay? I don't need other people anymore. I'm at a point where I don't need their presence to validate my self-esteem or my existence. Okay, they brought with them guilt trips. They brought with them like a half-hearted attempt at reconnecting, recommunicating, trying to catch your attention, trying to get your attention. All they should have done was, I'm really sorry, I messed up, but they didn't do that. They went about it their way to get your attention. And I feel like that was when, the truth came to light and you realize, I'm letting it go. I'm moving forward. Okay. And why am I bringing this up? Why is this showing up so prominently in this spread, especially for this year? And Pisces is a fellow water sign. It's also the last sign of the water signs. And what that means is taking all of our emotional karma, all of the emotional lessons that we've learned from the past, and really marinating in it, letting it kind of sink in so that we can figure out what we need to do, so that we can do some purging, so that we can move forward, so that we can heal from these things. I feel like the past 3 years for you guys, it was just not like it wasn't like a walk in the park. It was very, very difficult. You've had to overcome a lot of things, and you've had to do a lot to rebuild your self-confidence more than anything. Rebuild your bank account, rebuild your self-confidence. And I also feel like the past 6 months, there was something hinging. There was like a long period of suspension. What is my financial future going to look like? And that was something that really plagued you with worries and anxiety for the past 6 months. You've come out of it, and now things are looking really very, very bright, okay? Very bright, very hopeful. Things are looking as well very stable. It's going to stand the test of time. So if you've been worried about some new venture or endeavor you've undertaken for the past 6 months, and you're just like, is it going to stick? Is it going to be wobbly like this? Is it going to get better? It is better. And I feel like you're getting some type of a confirmation here that you're on the right path. That things right now, 9 of Cups, and the Star, both of these are wish cards, okay? Wish fulfillment. Whatever worries you've had, you have moved away from it. And now we're on to this phase where we are beginning to heal, and we are being beginning to pull towards us all the things that we have dreamt about, all the things that we've wished we had, and all the things that are actually really good for us. So we're shedding some old patterns, some patterns in relationships. For those of you who have been single for a very long time, and I do see this as, Nine of Pentacles, this is a singles card for a very long period of time. And many of you have thought about, that soulmate connection, okay? That past life connection, that soulmate connection, that karmic connection even. You have shed those karmic past life connection. And you're longing for a reunion here with the soulmate. And you're wondering, why is it taking so long? I've been single for a really long time. Why are all of my friends getting married and getting hitched and getting engaged and, having children and settling down in really stable relationships, or even having a lot of breakthroughs when it comes to their finances and their career? Why am I in this state of flux? Why am I still waiting? And I feel like, it takes a little bit more time. You're letting go of the very last remnants of the past in order to move away from it. Many of you are going to be able to get into a very, very solid relationship where the other person is going to work at it with you. Okay? And learning from the past, you're going to realize that let's not link up our finances. Let's have separate bank accounts. Let's just do that for a few months or a few years before we linked up our assets. You're learning from the past and you're realizing that you can't really, be careless anymore because something quite destructive happened financially in a very past, in a past karmic type of a relationship that left you in a dark place. And I feel a lot of it has to do with this, and excuse me for the word, but this very naive, totally giving energy where you were given to the wrong person and they took and took and took. Okay. They took and took and took. And you ended up with very little left for yourself at the end of that relationship. Sorry about that, Scorpio. The video cut out. So I feel like, this reading is a lot more about going down memory lane, taking a trip through memory lane through the past to examine where we've been and where we need to go. Okay. So I mentioned a lot about, what happened in the previous years and how that has really changed you. It has really helped you kind of like ground yourself to realize who you are, to realize how you handled adversity and just difficult situations in your life, for you to realize just how strong, how capable, and how independent you are. And having that knowledge in mind, I definitely feel like many of you have come into your own sense of power, into your own sense of, I'd rather be by myself, take care of myself, than be in potentially bad, toxic, idealistic, or even, naive types of relationships. Okay. And you have also realized how much your generosity in the past has really blinded generosity. It's like that kid with the new bike. He's going to let all his friends ride the bike. And it's something that he earned. It's something that's very dear and sacred to him. And yet I feel like you're coming into the sense of, I need to be a little bit more careful about my generosity, about taking care of myself, and especially about not depriving myself of things that I really want or things that I really need. So you're drawing your energy inwards to really take care of yourself, to kind of smooth out the wrinkles in areas of your life that you feel needs a little bit more tweaking. Okay. And a lot of it is work and finances, and it's about building up your financial resources so that you can have a more stable financial future.